Warning! The Anime Egotists have opinions about stuff and other stuff. Please understand this while watching the video and know that no opinion is a fact, not even yours. So please enjoy the video. Or don't.
Hello everyone, I am Sophia Ring, SP Saturn the 7th, and you are watching Anime Egotists. Enjoy!
Welcome back to the Anime Egotists, the place that you don't really need to come to for anime, but you've decided to stop by. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the view, because the Anime Egotists are people like myself and my co-hosts, people who are better than you. It's a wrestling reference. They'll understand it. We're not actually better than anybody. We're just there.
As you can tell, I haven't watched anime since I lived with him, so...
It's a wrestling reference.
Still don't get
MVP would be proud. But anyways, I'm Foster, and I'm joined by my co-host, who seemingly doesn't know anything about me nowadays.
And I'm Williamson. We've seen each other, what, once in the last 2 years now?
Maybe. But that needed work. But something else that needs work is anime arcs, because there are a lot of anime arcs that are great, fantastic pieces of storytelling that I'd rather watch more than most other forms of media. But then there are anime arcs that just need a little bit of work, just a little bit of work, or sometimes a lot of work.
Yeah, it could be that they're not written well. There are too many episodes that are not really important that are part of it. And it could even just be the placement of an arc in a series. It could be a good arc that's in a bad spot, so it's overshadowed by what's around it.
Yeah, so we have a list of arcs that we think we could improve. And normally this is the part where I say, oh, well, we'll do a list of the opposite, but there's not really an opposite to this, like the best arcs in anime, but that gets too crowded, and the people could get upset about that.
Yeah, there's just too much to do, and there wouldn't be much to talk about. I mean, I guess we could talk about why we love these arcs specifically, but
Sure. But before we begin, because I've been neglecting to do this, your boys were on a podcast a little bit ago called the Postmodern Art Podcast by our friend. Is he our friend?
Yeah, let's go with that.
Fine. Well, until we come up with something insulting, but yeah, by our dear friend Nathan Ragland and the Postmodern Art Podcast, and we were joined by the lovely Joe Horn, who works with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Class of 3000, and a whole variety of other things. So we'll put a link in the description. Just wanted to give a shout out and to thank him for having us on.
Yep. And then there was also the shout out for one of the people who helped us with some of our new artwork for the channel.
That is correct. I feel like I gave them their shout outs already.
You missed one, if I remember correctly.
That's right. That's right. You see the logo up at the top and down at the bottom? Those were done by our very, very, very talented, handsome, lovable friend, Salvador Salcido. I love that guy. He did this logo for us. Please give him some love or some hazing, or tell him he's short. I don't know. But in all seriousness, thank you, Sal. It means a lot, brother.
Yes, thank you very much.
So I don't think we have anybody else to shout out right now, but so do you want me to start this one? The anime arcs that we just need a little bit of touching up?
Yes, good.
Okay, so this almost feels like cheating a little bit, but I'm gonna go with Pokemon Advanced through Battle Frontier, basically the Hoenn series. Now,
Okay.
A lot of people don't really talk about this series anymore. The main issue people seem to have with it is simply, oh, well, this is when the voice actors change, which is that's not a good criticism for me. That's nothing to do with the story or the enjoyment, for my personal opinion. But the one thing I would have done for this arc, Ash, every season of Pokemon, Ash has a rival of some sort, whether it be Gary, Paul, Gladion, etc., etc. But the problem with the Hoenn arc is his rival was Morrison. Now, I like Morrison. I thought he was an interesting character, but to me, the problem was Morrison didn't show up until like the very end of the third season. and he didn't show up anymore after that, and he was never in it for the first few seasons. So I would have introduced Morrison a lot earlier on and had him been a constant rival and friend for Ash, rather than just, oh well, the tournament's coming up, so he needs a rival. So
I mean, I've made my thoughts about Morrison, I think, pretty clear. Yeah, maybe he would have been better had he been introduced earlier in the series, so that you have more episodes, you see more sides to the character. Then maybe I would have enjoyed him a bit more, but
or
yeah,
just or even in general, just give Ash a more consistent rival. It didn't necessarily have to be Morrison, but he was like the only rival that came to mind when it came to Hoenn. Heck, I didn't want to say it for repeating, but it would have been nice if Brendan had shown up like from the games. But we've talked about Pokemon game characters being in the anime so many times, people are getting sick of it.
yeah. So yeah, and again, it's a mistake they've repeated because they kind of did it with Hao as well, where they didn't bring him in until the second season, and then he was only in like a handful of episodes before the tournament. It's
Yeah,
like,
but I like Morrison far more than I like Howell, but that's another topic. But anyways, giving Ash a new rival, or having his rival be in the series before before the tournament started would have made it a lot more interesting. Other than that, I love that I love the Hoenn series. But what's yours?
so I'm just gonna go with my Pokemon one as well, and that's the X, Y, and Z series.
Okay.
That's based on how they've made the series since it feel. This was the kind of the, I guess, adult. That's the only word for it. It's a bit darker, bit more action packed, and again, Ash is drawn a bit older looking,
Right.
and they really should have just ended it with Ash winning that league, and then started kind of the journey style at that point. And it would have made more sense for Alola being something. Oh, he's off doing something new there versus, oh, at the end, throw in a tournament arc and he'll win this one where he only has to win the finals with 3 Pokemon versus where every other tournament ends with 6.
I'm gonna be honest. I think part of the reason for the Alola victory was just because of the backlash. That's because people wanted it so badly in X and Y. People wanted it so badly for him.
But it felt earned there. That's the thing. He had a really, really strong team finally. I mean, Noivern, Ash Greninja, his Pikachu,
Howlucha.
he brought back Gudra for that, and then who was his last one?
Talonflame.
So a really good team that they should have had him win this tournament. And again, they could have still done the Alolan thing as some sort of, I guess they could have kept it similar, but just dropped the tournament arc at the end, and then journeys could have still worked. It's just the way they wrote it, it felt earned there and doesn't feel really earned in the end of Alola.
Yeah, I can agree with that. Then again, when we were watching Tierno's battle, I remember us all freaking out at that one awesome moment we had. So I wanted him to win. I wanted Tierno to win. But yeah, I can understand. Ash, that probably should have been the one where he finally won, though, to be honest, maybe Johto or Sinnoh would have been better, but that's another point for another day.
Well, I think we pretty much covered that to death.
Yeah, true, but you gotta say that sometimes. Okay, so my next one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I really don't mean to kick the crap out of the series. I would like to talk about the better parts of this series, which I feel like I have, but I just have to say this. The ending of Nisekoi's season 1. Look, I'm gonna try and keep this as short and sweet as possible. We've talked before on this channel how we hate the friends fighting with each other while one person is acting completely irrational, and at the end the other person ends up apologizing. It felt so melodramatic and unnecessary in Nisekoi, and honestly, in its defense, I don't think I've ever liked that cliche beforehand, so I don't think any other series could have done it better. But as a quick rundown, Chitoge gets mad at Raku for hanging out with Onodera, despite the fact that Onodera is always nice to Raku, while Chitoge is abrasive at times. She's wondering, why are they always together? And I'm just like, because Onodera's not a mean person. That's the nicest thing I'm going to say right now. Oh, and just in the end, when it okay, so just, I'm trying to get through this as fast as possible, but I'm skipping around a bit. There's this play that they do at the end of the season, Romeo and Juliet. Raku's Romeo, Onodera's Juliet. Onodera hurts herself helping somebody else out, which doesn't seem fair. She goes out of her way to help somebody and she gets hurt. And at the end, Chitoge gets to be with Raku and Romeo and Juliet. And she was the one who was causing the fight and being completely irrational. It was, I've said before, I hate that trope, and it just really turned me off to the series. I am sorry.
Again, I've never seen the series, so I really don't know.
Yeah. I specifically remember that. Remember one of those episodes being so bizarre. You looked at me, and I was like shaking because I was like, "What? Why am I? What am I? What?" And you kept asking me, "Are you okay?" And I didn't answer you. I turned off the PlayStation and I left for class like an hour early because I was just that befuddled. And I remember I came back that day and we didn't even discuss it. We just started talking about other stuff. I'm just like,
it was for the best.
Yeah. I'm sure I'll do a video one day about the good stuff about Nisekoi, but that's just, and I'm sorry for ragging on it so much, but it deserves it sometimes. I'm sorry.
Okay, so my next one, I'm going to go with the Bleach Bount arc. So this
Okay.
is kind of the third arc. It's one of the filler arcs in the series. So,
Damn it.
But this could have been a really good arc if it had been repositioned in the series. So,
Okay.
the first arc is him getting his powers and starting to learn about this role of Soul Reapers in the anime, and then the second one is the Soul Society infiltration / Rukia rescue arc, and
Okay.
this builds up. That's the second arc builds up the big bad for the third canon arc, which is a guy named Aizen, who is supposed to be one of the strongest Soul Reapers, but he's turned against them, and they then place this arc there, and so you've had the big villain revealed, then you go into filler arc that lasts like 100 episodes.
Oh, Jesus.
It's not that long, but a lot of people say that it feels like that. This could have been a good arc to throw in after the end of Aizen, because there's like, again, 100 episodes, and then Aizen's defeated in the next arc. So, and spoiler alert, after he's defeated, the main character is losing his powers pretty much. And
Right, I've heard of that.
this could have been a good arc to have then, and him battling these otherworldly, I guess, spirit vampires to get and this as he's losing his powers, and then that's how they ended. That I think would have been a really good, just move it to a different spot. The villains were good. It's just if it was placed there, it would work better.
Yeah. I don't know a lot about Bleach. I've been meaning to change that, so I don't have a whole lot to comment on that end, but so I'll just go sign on to that. Sure.
Okay.
One of the few times in life I'm actually going to trust you.
Okay.
All right, so I'm next.
Yep.
Okay, so I've talked about this character before on our anime characters that deserved better list, but I'm going to specifically talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, the Society of Light arc. This arc is just a total mess. First of all, I appreciate that it goes from that it's teased in the first episode of season 2, and at the end of season 2, it's all wrapped up. I like that form of storytelling that, like, from beginning to end, it worked. Doesn't always work. Sometimes it could be introduced later or earlier, but for now it works. But there is so much filler in between this. There's like there's about 10 or 15 episodes of standalone episodes that don't really work in this. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are funny, a lot of them are can be interesting, but they're just it completely negates everything that makes the arc special. Not to mention, Jaden should not have been the one to save the day because like I said, I've talked about the character Bastion Masawa and how just neglected he is throughout the whole series. Season 2 in particular, he pretty much in the beginning of season 2, Bastion pretty much asked his friends, "Am I a good duelist?" Like he's having a crisis of confidence, and everybody's always forgetting about him. And they always talk about the Society of Light representing destiny and all this other sorts of stuff, like similar to Neji with Naruto. Oh, but the thing about Bastion is he doesn't believe in destiny, and they've stated in the series that Jaden pretty much is as good as he is through his connection with his cards and with luck, which is not all that interesting. While Bastion is as good as he is because of hard work and just pushing himself. He could have had a great story where he was the one to take down the Society of Light, that he was the one to save the world in season 2, especially considering the major start of his crisis of confidence is season 2. They could have wrapped up the whole story. And then season 3, they could have maybe had him fall to the wayside or not do as much. But just to have Jaden do it just because, oh, Jaden's the main character, it just you ruin one of the most interesting characters in the series just to make the main character somewhat more powerful, and it just didn't work for me.
The main thing I have to say about this one is just about one specific duel. Game show Bob banter.
Hey, that was a that was a dumb that's one of my favorite episodes, but it's so dumb and unnecessary. Could you imagine somebody in real life using a game show deck? How would that even work?
Yeah, and it's, if I remember correctly, he's not even mind controlled by them. He's just like, oh, okay, I'll go fight Jaden for you. And
Yeah, a lot of even Bastion, because Bastion ends up joining Society of Light. He's not brainwashed. He just wants to feel a part of something, and they do nothing with it. He joins, he bleaches his hair, and then he strips naked one episode. It's weird.
okay.
Also,
I haven't seen all of that arc though. I've only seen that.
And before we move on, I just want to say Bastion is not posh, so get that out of here. Anyways, your next part, your next arc, whatever.
Well, my next one is Naruto Shippuden, the War arc, War Saga. So,
oh Jesus! Can we fix everything about this arc? Just change everything.
There is some really good parts to this arc, but unfortunately, they're overshadowed by the parts that are really bad. And I'm kind of, as I said, I'm doing more than just the arc. I'm doing the saga. So
that's fine.
From the time Naruto leaves the village and leaves to go train with the two, him and Sasuke's fight at the end.
Okay.
So again, pretty much cut all the filler out of this. There's so much goddamn filler in this episode.
Yeah.
Or in this saga.
There's a lot.
And unlike other series where it's a filler arc or it's a one-off episode, it's episodes on episodes of filler crammed together that aren't connected and then are just there. So that's one thing that fixes a ton of it. In a previous video, again, change the villain. The villain at the end needs to be Madara. End it with Madara being the main villain again. So that fixes a large part of that. But I mean, just thinking about it, I mean, the good fights, I mean, Naruto versus Sasuke at the very end. I personally liked Sasuke and Itachi versus Kabuto.
That was a good one. Let's not forget Madara versus Guy.
Of course, that's one of the best fights in the series. And I mean, they use the standard animation in that and make it look like movie quality fight.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's good development. I mean, Sasuke goes and with the help of Orochimaru resurrects the Hokage.
Orochimaru is oddly willing to do that.
Yeah, I mean, the reunification of Team 7. And then one of my favorite things about this that really just thinking back on it, it's Asuma versus his team. It's
Oh,
like, because you can see and you feel the pain that, I mean, you're realizing that this is probably happening all over this battlefield. Uh, you're seeing your senseis resurrected to and having to fight against you, and they have their personality still. It's like,
yeah, that was a really nice touch that they added.
so the fighting their old friends, relatives, everything that could have been played up so much more. I mean,
Heck, I liked Sai's interactions with his brother. I thought that was one of Sai's best moments. But yeah, the war is one of the most disappointing parts of Naruto. It especially sucks because it was the end. It was like the end of everything. So it's no wonder that a lot of people felt like Naruto ended on kind of a wet fart.
as I said, it has good moments, but again, they're overshadowed by a last minute villain and way too much filler thrown
Right.
in. Because I mean, there's like 100 episodes of filler, or not that many. There's like 50 episodes of filler, where it's all of their dreams in the thing, and it's like, I don't need to know what everybody is. I know you're trying to wait till the anime or the manga ends, but God, just end it. Just keep going. You can, if you add an extra episode to a fight, that's understandable.
Yeah, I can vibe with that. The war arc in Naruto is yeah.
All right, your next one.
Alrighty. So my next one, I'm just gonna rip off the band-aid. Another Yu-Gi-Oh arc, but this is part of the original series. You remember Battle City?
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
There is no reason Yugi should have won Battle City. Absolutely no reason whatsoever, in my opinion. Because the whole beginning of Battle City, one of the first episodes, Joey loses his red eyes. He's pretty much his best card, despite the fact that most of his cards are not really all that great. But then in at the end of the episode, when Yugi gets it, he's like, "Hey, get your red eyes back." But Joey decides, "No, I'm not ready to take my red eyes back. Heck, we're gonna whoop these people. We're gonna save the world. We're gonna do all the like basic hero stuff." So you have Joey go through this arc of beating Esperoba, beating Weevil, beating Mako, getting all of their best cards and making his deck that much better. Have him get brainwashed by Merrick, making it feel that much more personal between him and Merrick. Like to me, that made it more personal than Yugi and Merrick, because Merrick's reason for hating Yugi was, oh, because I had to watch over the tomb. I'm like, yeah, but you never met the guy, like, ever.
Yeah. I mean, especially towards the end. So again, I would probably have the same final four: Kaiba, Merrick, Joey, and Yugi. But I would probably flip the semifinals. So Yugi beats Merrick, Joey beats Kaiba, and then have that. So that could be Joey reaching his peak, and that's why Kaiba blows up the island in the end, is because he's so pissed off that Joey beat him.
Oh, fun, because I do have a little bit of an idea for that. Because like I said, you could keep the final four. Other people have said that Kaiba should have lost to Ishizu, and that's I haven't thought about that enough to say whether it should or shouldn't have happened. But regardless, let's switch things up. Let's have Joe. Like, if you're going to keep the same matchups, have Joey beat Merrick, because it was shown that had he just said attack, he would have won. It was just he was wiped out from the Winged Dragon of Ra. And have Kaiba beat Yugi. So Kaiba has 2 Egyptian god cards, and Joey has 1, but he doesn't really know how to use it. That could make Kaiba look like a total asshole and be like, yes, I finally beat Yugi. Suck it, suck it, suck it. And he could get really cocky about facing Joey, only for Joey to win and finally somewhat earn his respect as a duelist. Or hell, you could have had Joey beat Yugi first as a kind of callback to their Duelist Kingdom duel, which once again, Joey should have won because Yugi's a fucking cheater. But that would have been a nice way to do it. And maybe have Merrick beat Kaiba or Kaiba beat Merrick and have Joey win in the end, because the whole arc was kind of about just Joey and his growth and everything. It would have been an awesome way to not send off his character, but to cap it off by having him win and basically be known as the next king of games at that point.
Yeah. Again, I do understand though why they have Yugi win, only because he is the main character and they have to keep it that way for the final arc, pretty much.
I know, but then the next arc or two were just fillers. So, they could have found a way around that, especially considering at the end of the arc, Joey and Yugi have a duel off screen for the Red Eyes, and it's heavily implied that Joey won that duel. So, but then again, we didn't get to see it because of a flipping clip show, but whatever. Anyways, I'm done with that one. What's next?
Just looking through to make sure I've done. So my next one, I guess I'll go with my Yu-Gi-Oh one, which would just so happens to be the next arc, the Seal of Orichalcos arc.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
There may not be a full way to save this one. So pretty much it starts out by they nerf Yugi because they steal his Egyptian god cards and are like, okay, well, we need these to summon the Leviathan.
Yeah.
And they have a card that completely rewrites the game, giving the user double the monster zones, extra attack, and then it steals the person's soul.
Yeah, fun fact, in the anime card, because there's like the OCG and TCG card description, and there's the anime card description. It actually says in the anime card description, whoever loses the duel loses their soul. Like, don't you think that's a little strange that they just had to throw that in on the card? But whatever.
Yeah, so it's... My real problem with this is the Yugi versus Raphael fight. Because the character... Now, maybe this is because we didn't get in America the season 0 or any of the other darker elements from the manga and the Japanese version.
Okay.
But the way they built the Pharaoh in the four kids dub, he would never have used the card, even if it was in his hand and given to him specifically for that. That's not the character they developed. And then all of a sudden, I can't control myself. Play it, and I lose.
Let's not forget, because here's the thing. Raphael challenged Yugi to a duel, but had Yugi lost, nothing would have happened. Like, there was no bet, there were no stakes or anything. They even made fun of this in the Bridge series. It's like, yeah, even though you're about to lose, it's like, wait, I'm about to lose. Well, yeah, your dragon's frozen in place. But even if you lose, like, it's not like we lose. It's not like anything happens. The world's not destroyed. Curse you, Raphael! I summon. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ. There's no reason for him to use it.
Yeah, and it's just... It's a cool idea bringing in, oh, well, here's this other ancient civilization that could be connected to it. And they just don't do the best job of doing this. And I actually remember really liking the guy who uses the the like armored suit thing in the duel.
Valen?
I guess so. I don't remember.
Yeah, I was about to say, and then Joey turned into like some Red Eyes mecha fighting thing. I'm like, okay, ignoring the fact that this is completely ludicrous and stupid, this is kind of awesome.
Yeah.
This is kind of awesome.
All right. But yeah, so the Seal of Orichalcos, it could have been a really cool arc, but some decisions based on the characters, they just...
So is there anything in particular, like you just say an overall fix besides just saying don't do the art, because that feels too easy?
There's not really just one fix, I think, because it's so many things happen that are just kind of off in this one.
Yeah.
Again, have different reasons. I mean, I kind of like Mai's reason for turning on them, but the fact that they tell, don't show, they just don't do a good job.
Yeah, I can understand that. Anyway, so I can move on to my whole lot because I already did a video about it. It's doing surprisingly well in terms of views and a couple of comments, and people have told me, wow, after watching this, I kind of see it. But the Black Clover Devil Banishers Devil Believers arc is just a mess. You make the Black Bulls look like total idiots. you make a couple of them look really weak, which sucks because apparently the next arc, the villains are incredibly overpowered. So you don't want to make your heroes look dumb or weak. But the worst part is the villains. Now, they're kind of built up to be sympathetic villains, but we don't really learn why we're supposed to be sympathetic with them until the very last moments that they're in the series as of now. And that's not really a good way of doing it because we've already grown to hate these characters. Don't try and change our minds at the very last second. It's just a mess. It's a mess. It's an arc you can skip. And honestly, just go watch our video. Just go watch the video about it. And yeah, you can skip this arc of an otherwise great series.
Okay. So my first honorable mention is Sword Art Online Season 2. And by this I mean the actual second season, not the second part of Season 1. Season 1, I still don't think ends great, but Season 2 is just, it's a whole filler season, pretty much. I mean, they've got little details that they bring up for parts of the later season, but you really can skip all of this season and not miss anything for the next part.
So it's just like nothing happens.
They do they go to a different game in this one, and then go back to, and then halfway through they end the first part, which is the gun gale, so it's more about guns instead of fantasy, and then they go in a quest for a sword called Excalibur, which never comes up again in the next series.
Does this Excalibur have anything to do with the one from Soul Eater? Because if so, I can understand why they decided to ignore that.
No, it's literally just supposedly the most powerful sword in the game, and
Does it sing and dance?
Nope.
Oh.
It's literally just a sword that they go on a quest for as a group, and then they get it, and there's like a climactic battle, but for literally no reason.
Okay. Is this the part where Asuna starts to become more of a damsel in distress rather than the competent hero we grew to know and love?
That more starts in the second half of Season 1, which again, as I said, is bad in its own right, but at least it has stuff in that part of the series that is effective towards like the ultraization arcs that they just finished.
Okay. But I haven't watched Sword Art Online, so I just have to co-sign to that apparently.
Again, it's just an honorable mention. Some people I know like it though.
Yeah. So do I go to next honorable mention?
Yep.
Okay. Hey, the Love Chunibyo and Other Delusions field trip arc from season 2. Now, a lot of people have said the second season of this show isn't all that great. I'm inclined to agree, but this field trip arc doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me in some points. First of all, our main couple is already together. They got together towards the middle-ish end of season 1. I like that. I like that we don't have to wait a full season or the whole series to get a couple together. Let's get them together earlier on and we can just develop them later. That's interesting. But their relationship up until this point had not really developed since they started dating. And the whole time people are pestering them like, hey, Rika, Yuta, why aren't you guys like doing couple stuff on the field trip? You should be doing that. And I'm just like, okay, first of all, who the hell are you people? Most of you don't even have names. Most of you haven't done anything in the series. Why are you so involved in this relationship? Second of all, my main thing is everyone's saying, why aren't you guys together? I'm just like, because we're stuck hanging out with you idiots. You see how that's a problem? But those are more joke answers. The main two issues I have is one, I don't like how people are forcing Yuta and Rika to be more forward with their relationship. I kind of like the idea that they're kind of starting off slow. I like the idea that there are couples who aren't about kissing and sex and all that other stuff, but they just like spending time together. They have fun together. I like that sort of aspect. But so people, sure, it's nice to see them develop and do more stuff, but I don't know. It bothers me because it almost comes across as toxic from other people. And second, I don't like how Yuta's old childhood friend shows up and everybody starts getting jealous. It's like, why are they? Because a lot of fans don't like this character because she feels like a love triangle cliche. I think her character is funny. I think they actually do a great job with the character Shimiya. I think they do a great job with her character at the end of season 2, but the field trip arc it's just very problematic because it feels sort of it's unnecessary. That's what it is.
Okay. I'll have to sign off on that. Again, I've not seen that one either.
We need to start watching more shows together so you can see what nonsense I'm talking about.
Yeah. All right. So my final honorable mention is going to be the One Piece Long Ring Long Island arc. It's just extra filler. There's a handful of episodes in it that are canon based on the manga, but then this has the Foxy Pirates. You probably have seen images of them, uh,
Probably.
and they are they're comedic characters that become overused because they instead of being in like 3 chapters of the manga, they're in like 15 episodes. So it's literally just an extra filler arc that they extend.
No, I see these. Oh yeah, these. I know these guys. They're
It's literally just pretty much at this point it's cut most of this arc because it's a fun little adventure to start, and then it gets annoying because they stretch it into a full arc instead of episode.
you don't seem to like filler, my friend.
A lot of times it's not good.
No. I need to show you some Gintama filler arcs because well, then again, it could be argued that all of Gintama's filler, which, yeah, kind of, but they have some really good filler arcs. But that's another point for another time. Anyways, so you're done with honorable mentions?
Yep.
Okay, so the last arc that really needs to be fixed, in my opinion, the final Beelzebub arc. This Beelzebub basically starts with our main character Oga one-shotting a bunch of characters. A lot of the characters are shown to be a lot weaker than he is, but as the series progresses, the enemies get tougher and tougher, which at first I didn't like because you made all the characters at the beginning look like crap. But then when I realized what was happening, I grew to realize that's a pretty sneaky way of writing it. I appreciate that. But the fight at the very end, they don't even fight the big bad at the end. They get teleported into the other dimension. Everybody starts missing Oga and Baby BL. Oh, and then at the very last episode, they come back and they're like, oh, hey, we just talked for a minute and that's it. No climactic fight. The other characters barely do anything. It's just a mess. I would have had more powerful of the demons show up because it was shown that there were a lot of them running around. And you could have add our side characters do a lot. You could have had Himikawa with his amazing pompadour kicking people's asses. You could have had Kanzuki with his yogurt fighting people. We could have finally seen what the hell Natsume was up with. Because I've talked about Natsume before and just how ridiculously overpowered he seemed to be, but got nothing to do. I don't know. It was just a disappointing end to a series that really could have used one awesome battle at the end to cement itself as one of Shonen Jump's better titles. It's just a shame. And I'd like to think a remake could do it some good, but I'm not holding my breath.
So it sounds like it can kind of use like a Sasuke retrieval arc kind of thing, but more where all the battles are together, but you get to see these side characters doing really good work.
Yeah, especially since all the side characters go training beforehand. They actually find one of Oga's mentors and you know what? He shouldn't be the only one getting stronger. We're gonna have to fight a bunch of demons later. Let's all train together. And apparently, people told me the manga, the fight is a lot better. The characters get to do more stuff, but this is anime specific, so that's my final one.
I mean, I've seen most of Beelzebub through you, but I haven't seen the final part of it animated. So uh, if they really do that and the side characters don't get as much to do, then that's really disappointing because that's part of what made that show really nice.
Yeah, like all the characters actually kind of were able to keep up with each other for the most part.
Okay. So for my final one, um, this one is again a little different. This is the Blue Exorcist ending.
Okay.
So for those of you who don't know, the series came out, I think it was around 2015, somewhere around there,
Something like that.
and it got a anime original ending.
Oh, that's right.
So rather than do a filler arc, because they had reached a good point that they could have done a filler arc, or if I don't know where they were on I think it's the Kyoto arc or uh, something like that. There's another arc that they've since released that uh, takes place in the manga, and it's like, why wouldn't you give it a chance to prove that the show can do well and then do your own thing? Why would you do an anime only ending, especially with it if the manga's still going on?
Yeah. I have yet to really give Blue Exorcist a chance. I've really been meaning to give it a chance, but that itself has kind of turned me off to it.
Yeah, I mean, so they rush everything because of that, because there's throughout the arc that they've since released uh, as an anime, uh, they reference stuff that if you had only watched the original anime and watched it to the end, you think it has already been taken care of because it's like one episode everybody's fighting the next amongst themselves because they found out one of them I think is the son of the devil, or I think is the whole preference, and all of a sudden, okay, well we have to end it. So here's 3 episodes where they've already made up, and then this whole arc is actually about it. So they've written themselves into a corner where they either need to start again now that they're farther in and uh, retell the whole story, or pretty much delete the end of the anime and that they filmed and start again from where the current arcs are.
Yeah, it's amazing how people seem to hate anime original stuff, yet people want anime original stuff for Psyche K, even though the manga author wants to be done. But that's another conversation. Once again, I'll co-sign on to that. It does not look good to me.
There's a difference between anime original content when it's like an OVA special side story of some kind where they could fit it in somewhere, and when you write a completely different ending, and or it may not be a completely different ending, but you don't have a way of justifying this ending yet.
Yeah. And I heard Tokyo Ghoul did a fantastic job with its anime original stuff.
So yeah, it's I don't like anime original endings because it means that they'll come back later and redo the ending how they wanted it to actually end, and then it's not going to be as good.
Oh, you don't like anime original endings? Oh. Well, I think Usegi drop. That's all I'm going to say. Usegi drop.
Okay.
Anyways, those are our anime arcs that we think need to be fixed. Unfortunately, some of these arcs I don't know how, like the Nisekoi arc, I don't know how to fix. I honestly don't know how. Some of these arcs we don't know how to fix. So we just know that they got some problems. So if you guys have any solutions to these arcs, let us know. Or if you liked these arcs and thought they were perfect, let us know why you feel that way. We'd be happy to hear it.
Yep.
In our next video, we haven't talked. We have some ideas for our next video. We just don't know. We just have to plan in order and everything. So just keep an eye out for that.
Yep. I mean, we're going to be trying to get a few more videos out now that we're through the holidays, and just keep an eye out if you're interested in following more about us.
Yep. So like, subscribe. you don't have to hit the bell. That feels kind of that feels very intrusive, and we don't like to be that intrusive unless we start getting really, really close to you guys. But just let us know. Keep your eyes out. Tell your friends, and we'll see you guys next time. This has been Foster
And Williamson.
and this has been the Anime Egotists with the arcs that just needed just a little bit of a touch up, like a makeup touch up. And with the Anime Egotists, if you disagree, you're wrong. But we'll probably have a better ending than most of your anime season 2s, so good for us, I hope.
We're still on season 1.
We should just end at season 1. This is the best we're going to get.